what song that was. And I want to say thanks to Randy Davis, who has done a magnificent job of helping put all of this together tonight. And I want you to give Randy a big hand. He has been working so hard for it. What a great job. Randy, thank you very much. And Randy has a beautiful young daughter named Wendy, who is so looking forward and excited about coming tonight, and came down ill just before this evening. And I'm so very sorry, but I wrote Wendy a little note, and he's going to take it back to her. But she's been one of my strongest and most faithful supporters from the very first time when I ever came to Iowa. I'm so grateful for her and for Randy. I think Randy picked out the song because he knows that my band plays Freebird. So, I tell you what, look at this auditorium. What a wonderful facility this is. You guys are fortunate to have this great facility. I was backstage and I was thinking, this would be a good place for Capital Offense, my band, to come and play. We'll come back after having a victory party after next week or something. I want to tell you how truly grateful that I am that you came tonight. And I know it's a Friday night, the beginning of the weekend. The weather's hideous out there. At least it is for those of us from the South. Who, you know, my blood isn't as thick, people. I'm going to tell you right now. We see this much snow, we close everything. Our state government closes. Nobody even notices. Same work output's getting done, but we close everything. Some of you didn't quite get that. When I first became governor, I'll never will forget a guy coming to me. He said, Governor, I just want you to know I'm really excited about you being in office. And I'd like to ask you to do me a favor. I said, what is it? He said, well, I wish you could get my boy a job. Wish you could get him on with the state. Get him in one of those state jobs. I said, well, I don't know. What can your boy do? He said, Governor, that's just it. My boy can't do nothing. I said, man, bring him on. We won't even have to train him. Oh, it's not quite like that. But I do know it's the beginning of the weekend. And the weather is a little challenging, even for folks in Iowa, I think, to have this kind of stuff over and over again. And I am just so thrilled. We've already been told that we have almost twice as many people here tonight as came when Bill and Hillary Clinton came just a few days ago. You guys just have to promise me that you didn't really think this was the Hillary rally tonight. Boy, are you ever going to feel uncomfortable if that's what you think. And I got to ask you, sir, that Arkansas cap looks awfully nice on you. Are you from Arkansas?
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Harrison.
Harrison, Arkansas. Do you live here now, or are you just visiting?
Yeah, I live here. Married an Iowa girl. You asked me about that back earlier.
Saw you, was it at the Pizza Ranch when we were here? Or?
No, in the park.
In the park. That's right, it was outdoors when we were in Ottumwa this summer. And she ended up bringing you to Iowa instead of you bringing her to Arkansas.
Right.
How many winters have you spent up here now?
Oh, since 1980.
Okay. Well, it's good to see you, and I appreciate you wearing that Razorback hat tonight. I feel kind of at home. But I do want to say thanks, folks, so much, because you guys are bombarded with political stuff in Iowa. I don't somehow even understand how you put up with so much of it. You turn your television on, and every ad, it's like 20 television ads, and we'll be back with a brief interlude from our program before we return to non-stop political advertising. And most of it's not that pleasant. I've been watching some of it. I tell you what, after watching some of Mitt Romney's ads about me, I'm not sure I would vote for myself. It has been really pretty brutal, and people say, does it hurt your feelings? You know, after you've been through Arkansas politics as long as I've been, you kind of get used to this stuff. It's not that you enjoy it, but you do understand that politics is a full contact sport. And as I say to folks, if you can't stand the sight of your own blood, probably be better just to buy a ticket and watch it from the stands, because in this game, some people play it for brute force. But I don't think it has to be like that. It ought to be about, what are we going to do for this country? And if the only thing we can do is to talk about what's wrong with somebody else, and we can't talk about what could be right with America with the right kind of leadership, I'm not sure that all the focus on presidential politics makes us a better nation. Because what makes us a better nation is when we have better ideas of how we can fix the problems that we really know we have to fix. Many of you probably know that I became governor rather unexpectedly. In 1996, I was lieutenant governor, having been elected twice to that position, and was kind of down in the hallway minding my own business. And the governor was convicted of Whitewater-related felonies and had to resign. And in Arkansas, we don't run as a team, so we had a Democrat governor, a Republican lieutenant governor, which was me. And when he was forced to resign, I unexpectedly became governor in July of 1996. When I came to the state, our roads were in a mess. Truckers Magazine said they were the worst roads in America. If they hadn't told me that, all the letters from good folks like you with RVs had already told me that, because I got them every week. Our school system was in court, had been for 3 governors. Funding issues, unconstitutional, a big mess, and many people have lost confidence in public schools. Teacher salaries were some of the lowest in the country. Test scores were some of the lowest. We used to say, well, I won't tell you what state because I have to run there too, but there was another state we'd say, thank God for, and we would name that state. Because we said if it wasn't for them, we'd be last in everything. And it's not where we wanted to be. We had higher than national unemployment rates. There were a lot of challenges for us and people going on to college and finishing. And we have a beautiful state, but we weren't taking care of our natural resources like we should. There were a number of challenges that we faced. We had hundreds of thousands of kids in our state that didn't have any access to medical care. They were forced to either stay on welfare with their parents, because if their parents got even just a barely paying job, it meant that they would lose any health coverage. And so it really trapped people in a welfare system. And we knew that we needed to reform the welfare system. You ought to reward people for work, not reward them for failing to work.
Right.
You ought to encourage people to be able to work. Now, the Democrats in my state like to call me the accidental governor, which they called me that for a while until I reminded them whose accident made me the governor. And they never called me that again. I went into a legislature that had 90% Democrats in it, which meant it wasn't exactly like they woke up every morning trying to figure out how to make my life better. They didn't say, how can we make this government look effective and successful? I had the most lopsided legislature in the entire country. And there were some little problems that really were big ones. Things like, you get a car tag in our state? I mean, that ought to be simple. You go and get the little tag that goes in your license plate every year. You had to go to 7 different offices, state, local, and county, to get pieces of paper in order to finally end up at the state revenue office to get your car tag. It sometimes took people as much as 6 or 7 hours in a long day of all the trips you had to make to the assessor's office, the treasurer's office, then to an inspection station, then to the state revenue office. It was a nightmare. To the insurance company, had to have all these pieces of paper. I used to say that if anybody could fix that car tag system, he could be elected governor for life. We had a problem with methamphetamine in our state. It's a huge problem in many rural states. It's a problem for you here in Iowa. Those were the things that I faced, and I faced it as a governor, only the 4th Republican elected to a statewide office in 150 years in my state. Now, I'm not here to tell you that I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread or toothpaste out of a tube. But what I do want to tell you is that you've heard a